Property rights are probably the most important institution, the most important foundation for economic prosperity. If you look at any country where you have poverty and look at the system of property rights, you find a very high correlation. I have not seen any country that has prospered with poorly defined property rights. On the other hand, any place where we find that there is a lot of economic activities and progress, we find that there are clearly defined property rights. So I think, in fact, it is probably the most important foundation for a prosperous society. In a pursuit to achieve economic growth, we know that it is the private sector that creates wealth. Private sector is the one that is responsible for economic growth, not governments. The role of the government is to make sure that we have a conducive environment for private business to thrive. But we should not focus this, as has been common in many countries, that we should create a conducive environment for foreign investors. We should create a conducive environment for the local businesses. If we have a conducive environment for local businesses, the foreign investors will come. We don't even need to tell them to come. If we have a good environment, they will come to our own countries. So it's very important, however, that we have a conducive environment, simple regulations, clearly defined property rights, protection of contracts. All those are crucial if you are going to achieve economic development. In one of my books that I published a couple years back, I talked about the appropriate law of government. And one of the things that we find in many developing countries is a concept I would call under government and over government. Under government is when governments fail to do what they should do, and over government is when they do what they should not be doing. Under government basically means that you don't provide the necessary conditions, for example, security, property rights, all those things that are necessary for market actors to participate fully. Over government is when government becomes a problem. It over-regulates more, it over-taxes. And in Africa, in many African countries, we have over-government, or at the same time we have under-government, which is a very bad situation for markets. One of my positions regarding protectionism is that it's always acquired by those people with power. You will find that in the case, for example, of maize, which is a staple crop, there are a lot of people who will argue that we should not open markets to maize. And what happens is that the poor are the ones who don't get food to eat. But the people who have the capacity and the people who are able to trade with the maize are the ones who are likely to benefit, particularly those people who own very large farms and are able to sell the maize at very highly inflated prices. So to a large extent, protectionism is actually benefits some special interest groups. It never helps the poor, but could help some class of people. So every time I hear people talking about that we want to protect the economy, I get very concerned because I know it's a particular group of people or a particular class of people who will be benefiting from such protectionism.